getting ready to go racing on the Monster Mile.
At this track, focus is a must.
Green flag is in the air.
Because if you lose your focus, you may lose track of what's lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike.
Find the video. Find the video. What was that? Go to 5. Go to 5. Replay. Replay. Pull it back. Ready? You go.
You stop getting this.
Tyler Reddick gets the win.
This year, who will rise and who will tame the monster at Dover?
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series brings you to the Monster Mile, Dover International Speedway. High banks and high speeds, where 20-year-old Tyler Reddick will try to defend his Dover title after winning here 1 year ago. He starts 16th tonight. He'll start alongside Johnny Sauter in row 8. Sauter won the season opener at Daytona and was leading last week at Kansas before a crash on the final lap. Last week's runner-up was Matt Crafton, his best finish of the season. Can he continue the momentum for his first Dover win? Or will 18-year-old William Byron go back-to-back after winning last week? It's his first truck race at Dover, but the monster hasn't scared him. He was fastest in practice and will start from the pole tonight. 200 laps, 200 miles. But before we go racing, we're going to turn it trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies at Dover International Speedway.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Delaware National Guard Joint Color Guard presents our nation's colors. And please remain standing as Chaplain Major Andrew Werner of the Delaware National Guard offers today's invocation.
Lord, we're grateful for this weekend of racing here at Dover. We pray for the safety of all those who will participate. We pray that the weather will not dampen the spirit or the festivities planned. And Lord, we are grateful that we do live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. Amen.
And here to perform our national anthem, please welcome back 12-year-old Bailey Morrison of Macedon, New York.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bailey Morrison.
Getting ready to go to work, 32 trucks, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Dover. Love coming to the Monster Mile, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. We're going to go around 200 times from Dover International Speedway. It's been a wet day, but hey, the track is dry, and we're going to go racing. Good to have you with us, Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons. I'm Vince Welch. Rain washed out qualifying. So, Phil, these trucks haven't been on track since yesterday's practice. What kind of impact are we going to see early on tonight?
Well, the problem is they had a couple hours of practice yesterday, so they put a lot of rubber down on the racetrack. They started with a green racetrack. They put rubber down. They worked down those trucks, but now they're going back almost like to where they started because there's not that much rubber on the racetrack. That's what it looked like here. You see all that rubber? See that black mark going down in the corners, both ends of the racetrack. And this is after the rain. Just a few moments ago, you see how much lighter it is. So these guys are going to have to put some rubber down. They're going to see some tire wear early till they get that first set of tires off these trucks, and then they're going to be about like they were when they finished practice yesterday.
It's going to be fun to watch. Michael, 11 drivers making their first start in a truck here at Dover. We've got some young guys up front. We got a lot of speed coming through the back. What are we going to see?
What about those first two rows? A bunch of teenagers have taken over the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, but right behind them sits Matt Crafton. He's going to keep them honest. He's going to make sure they go hard from the beginning of this race. The stories I'm looking forward to are guys that are going to have to march from midfield to get up toward the front, and we know they'll be coming. They're really fast. They've always shown the experience and the knowledge how to get there. The last time we were on a mile track, Timothy Peters out in Phoenix took the checker flag, so he knows how to get it done on a facility like this. And then John Hunter Nemechek, he's another guy that's starting back deep in the field. He'll have to really push. This is a short race. You got to really claw and scratch from the very beginning to get to the front. He won already once this year. He's going to try to go to victory lane again today.
We've had 4 different winners to start the season. 3 of those are championship eligible, means they've locked themselves into the chase. How much does that ramp up the intensity, knowing that if you win the race, you're going to make it to the chase and have a chance to win the championship at the end?
Well, I think that's a lot of what we saw last week with Ben Rhodes going for it at the end of the race on the last lap against Johnny Sauter. He knew that if he could get to a victory lane, put a check in the win column, then he would be in the chase. So I think this is really playing into these guys' minds a lot.
And the young guys, they're ready to push. They're going to press, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Hey, might as well get it done. Have a shot at winning that championship. It all begins with winning the race. Before you can win the race, you got to start those engines. Let's go trackside and get it ready.
And here to present those most famous words in motorsports, the president of Jacobs Company, Mr. Don Perry.
Drivers, start your engines.
Engines are fired. The trucks are getting ready. We're going to go racing at the Monster when we return. Back at Dover International Speedway, the Monster Mile, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, the 17th trip for the trucks here to Dover. Well, it's got some exciting races in the past, and we anticipate it will be more of the same tonight, Michael, as we take a look at the Camping World track description.
I just love how innocent that looks, but how dramatic and how thrilling this racetrack is. It's a mile in length, and look at those 24-degree bank turns. That means these trucks will barely be off the throttle down in the center of the corner, intense speed, and it's a thrill ride for sure.
About 9 degrees on the straightaways. Self-cleaning. You're going to get into the inside wall if you have trouble.
I've been cleaned up a few times by them myself.
Take a look at our Camping World race analysis. 200 laps, 200 miles. You see our caution clock will be somewhere between 49 and 51 green flag laps. The fuel window is about 75 to 80. That probably won't come into play here. And our winner last year, as you mentioned earlier, Vince, Tyler Reddick.
The only former Dover Truck Series winner in the field tonight as we take a look at our starting lineup, led by the 18-year-old young man who won last week at Kansas, William Byron.
But just don't you love momentum? And that young man has it. He was 3rd at Martinsville, comes to wins Kansas his next race, and he's on the pole here for this one.
Well, I'm going to watch Daniel Suarez closely. He loves this track. That kid is due a win. Let's see if we can check in with one of those teenagers that are starting up there in the first couple of rows, Cameron Haley. Hey, Cameron, it's Michael Waltrip up in the SF1 booth. Do you hear me, friend?
I got you.
Well, you're starting up front. Do you have the truck it's going to take to stay there all night long?
I think we had a great tundra there in practice. We're going to give it our best shot there. The track's green. Don't really know what's going to happen, but we're going to definitely give it our all.
Hey, buddy, are you comfortable with that high groove? We didn't see a whole lot of trucks wander up there during practice. Do you think you can make it stick up there?
I think it's going to take a couple trucks getting up there first. I'm definitely not going to be the first one, but I guess we're going to see going into turn one here.
Well, we're going to check in with you later. Have a good time and a good race in that Toyota.
10-4, thanks, guys.
And I know I'm in the FS1 booth.
I thought we were in San Francisco or something.
SF, isn't that what you do for your sunscreen or whatever? Never mind.
Well, we're not going to get sunburned, but we are going to look at the onboards.
How about Ryan Truex? What a great run. He had a Daytona early this year, finishing second. He is driving the Sea-Watch Toyota, and he will start from the 18th spot.
Johnny Sauter is going to row from the 15th spot. He's the Wisconsin native. He'll have to charge through the field if he wants to be in a position late to do what he almost did last week in Kansas.
Let's take a look at our Ford on board. Daniel Hemrick will be driving that. He had his best career finish here last year. He finished fourth. He finished third last week. He bettered that, and he will start from the 8th spot.
Let's roll up inside the top 10. 7th place starter Cole Custer. He led 67 laps here last year before he had to pit late for fuel that cost him the victory. He's going to drive the Haas Automation Chevy. I talked about some of the favorites of the race. Suarez, I'm going to put Custer in that group as well.
How about Brandon Jones? What a great year he's having in the Xfinity Series. He's had 4 top 10s already driving for Richard Childress. He's got the autism awareness onboard camera. He starts from the outside of the front row in that AAA Car Care Center Chevy.
Those are some stout trucks we're going to be on board with, Vince.
It's going to be a great view. Hey, let's go downstairs, check in with our pit reporters, Caitlin Vincey and Hermie Sadler, and we'll start with Hermie. Hello, Hermie.
Hello, Vince. You know, restarts have become such an important part of what it takes to win these Camping World Truck Series races. Look back at this restart on lap 129 from last weekend's race at the Kansas Speedway. Matt Crafton is the lead truck. Timothy Peters on the inside gets a jump in the restart zone, but NASCAR does not issue a penalty. Well, upon further review, NASCAR now says that probably should have been a penalty, and if the truck on the inside or the truck that is not the lead truck gains any kind of an advantage in that restart zone, there will be a penalty. There was some conversation as to whether or not the fact that the 17 gave that ground back to Matt Crafton, did that make the difference? NASCAR's been very clear. There's no give back rule in NASCAR racing. If the truck that is not the lead truck gets a jump, he will be penalized, and that could play a major role in today's race. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, it is Daniel Hemrick's first season with Brad Keselowski Racing, but it's already off to a very good start. 3 top 10s, 2 top 5s. Phil, as you mentioned, coming off a career best finish just last week at Kansas. And Daniel told me just a bit ago he's running a very similar setup to what BKR teammate Tyler Reddick ran here at Dover a year ago when he went to Victory Lane. Now, I asked him about the challenges of racing at this track. He said physically, it is one of the most challenging tracks we go to. There's so much vertical and lateral load. He said you have to try and stay focused, but also still stay relaxed for every lap and every corner. He starts 8th for today's race, guys.
Challenges aplenty tonight on the high banks, 200 laps. High speeds, and I'll tell you what, if you get it done and you lock yourself into the chase, you're going to be real happy at the end of the night. Like John Hunter Nemechek, Johnny Sauter, William Byron, the young man that won last week. You win and you're in, unless we have more than 8 winners, right? And
yeah.
Is that going to happen or not?
It's only happened once in the last 10 years, and I really don't think it does. Michael thinks that we might have more than 8 winners, but all these trucks on that list right there, all those drivers are capable of getting a victory lane, and there's some guys not on that list up there and top of the points that are capable as well.
Yeah, there's so many talented racers. I mean, just look at the youth that has invaded the series. They're all starting near the front, but then you got guys like John Hunter who already won, starting in the back like we talked about earlier. There's going to be a lot of trucks charging, and that's going to be what I'm going to enjoy most about this race, seeing how these guys can work their way through traffic on this extremely tough Dover Monster Mile.
Matt Tifft is in the 11 truck for the 2nd consecutive week.
Trying to work together all day. Nice and smooth. Number 5 on, 5 off. That's all we need. No mistakes. We'll capitalize on everybody else's. So I think we got a good truck. We'll just run 200 laps and see what we can come up with.
Well, we've heard that a lot throughout the course of the weekend in the garage. Let's don't beat ourselves. If you don't beat yourself, we feel like we got a good enough truck to be in position to win. And there's so many teams that feel that confidence.
Yeah, without a doubt. We talked about it. You had all those guys that have already been to victory lane this year, already locked themselves in the chase. Essentially, there's so many of these trucks, they feel like we've got the truck to win this race here. And they're starting, some of them are starting outside the top 10.
Well, let me tell you one that's starting even further back than that. Ben Kennedy, he had a practice accident. He had to drop to the rear of the field in his Jacobs Company Chevy, and so he'll come from the very back. We talk about how hard it is to race from the middle of the pack to the front. He's got his work cut out for him.
His crew chief, Joey Cohen, was really counting on qualifying. They were going to use that as a practice session with his backup truck. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Vince, we washed it out.
Yep, practice set the field after qualifying was washed out earlier today. So the fastest in practice was William Byron. He'll start from pole position, which he's chosen to be the outside lane. So it's Byron on the outside and the 71 of Brandon Jones on the inside. We are racing at Dover.
Looked like Byron really tried to jump on the gas, Phil, to get the advantage on the start, but spun his tires a bit and it allowed Jones to stay even with him. Good run off turn 2 by Byron.
Guys, I hate to say this, but we've had a caution in the first 20 laps. Every single time we've ever run Dover, their average is lap 7.
And you got to figure that could be the case here as well. With this green track after that rain shower, these trucks are going to be a handful.
William Byron off to a great start with the lead. On board with the 19 of Daniel Hemrick. That's the 51 of Daniel Suarez right in front of him.
It's amazing. Just as we threw the green flag, the sun popped out. It's as bright as it's been all day long.
That maybe startled some people. We haven't seen the sun in a couple of days.
Look at Matt Crafton. I talked about him keeping those teenagers on their toes at the start of this race. He's already climbed past one of them. That's Matt Tiff that he put in his rearview mirror.
I talked to Junior Joyner down in the garage this morning. He said he felt like they had a good truck. He said, we didn't really run any blistering speeds, but we felt like we had a really good long-run truck.
And if Matt Crafton says that and Junior believes it, that means that truck is going to be strong during the race. Those cats are experienced. They have the knowledge of what they need in order to be successful, and they think they've got it.
John Hunter Nemechek in that 8 truck running 16th. Johnny Sauter on his outside.
Remember, that truck on the inside wants to get loose. The back end wants to come around when you're on the inside because you don't have any air to lean on. That's where John Hunter is right now. He's going to have to be careful underneath Sauter.
We heard Johnny have to pedal that throttle a little bit. This racetrack is a little bit unique in the fact that when you get in the throttle in the center of the corner, you get in the throttle hard, but then sometimes you have to back off to make that sharp turn on exit.
You know, Phil, it's interesting. This track especially, it was one of the first ones I ever came to as a young driver that I would get on the gas before I was to the center of the turn. There's so much banking. These guys roll out of the gas on entry, but then they're already back in the throttle before they even get to the middle. That's the thrill ride that Dover is.
The 00 of Cole Custer currently running 8th. That's Ben Rhodes. You see behind him in the 9th spot. Of course, Rhodes was involved in that last lap accident last week at Kansas with Johnny Sauter. Bit controversial. Sauter was leading. Rhodes crashed into him, and Sauter had some choice words for him afterwards, but they patched it up. They had good conversation during the course of the week, and all has been put behind them. Don't expect any incidents between Sauter and Ben Rhodes tonight.
Take a look at that one truck. Ooh, gets really loose. That's Austin Hill. He's won a couple K&N races here. He may have stayed out of the outside wall. Lost a bunch of spots, though.
That just tells you how bad it can go bad in a hurry, how fast it can go bad in a hurry. He went down in there, just wiggled a bit, but you're going so fast, you have to chase it all the way up to the wall before you can ever catch it.
Michael, we talk about running these trucks loose and the guys that are able to run loose. I think this is one of the more difficult racetracks that we go to drive a loose truck.
Yeah, and you know, I think that makes so much sense that Reddick got the victory last year. Loose is fast here, but it's very hard. We're used to seeing Tyler Reddick sideways. He drives his truck looser than most. He was able to take advantage of that a year ago.
There's Rico Abreu, the 98 Safe Flag truck. I saw a bunch of Safe Flag folks here today, so they're certainly making this sponsorship program work for them.
And right behind Abreu was the 49 of Nick Drake, making his Camping World Truck Series debut. 10 laps in at Dover, the 9 of William Byron out front for all of them. Brandon Jones on board to bring you back 14 laps in of 200 at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. There's the 29 of Tyler Reddick, last year's race winner here at Dover, currently running in that 14th, 15th spot. Boy, he's had quite a battle with the 8 truck of John Hunter Nemechek.
There's Timothy Peters. We talked about him trying to march through this field. That's the 2 guys I talked about in the open. They just haven't made that much progress, Phil. It's just so tough. These trucks are so competitive. It looks like Peters has a faster truck than John Hunter right now, but just can't get the pass done.
You know, a lot of times when we have rain after the trucks are on the racetrack for the last time in practice, they will have a competition caution. But the tire wear was pretty good for all these trucks yesterday, so the crew chiefs didn't feel like they really needed a competition caution. So this race could have a long green flag run. Remember, we've never gone past 20 laps without getting a caution flag.
William Byron has led them all so far tonight. The winner last week at Kansas. He's just 18 years old, a high school senior.
At Charlotte Country Day, he goes there with my daughter Macy, and they're planning a big party at the Charlotte races celebrating that victory, the whole class, his whole senior class. So that'll be fun for those kids. And just a little heads up, I heard about some tire wear on the 9 truck during practice, maybe a little bit excessive on the right front. I think the team has adjusted for that. But this is the first long run these teams have been faced with. Have to make sure somebody doesn't burn up one of those right front tires, Phil. You know how hard they charge these corners. Those tires could wear.
Here's a good look at second place. Cameron Haley.
Michael, you talked to him before the race on the pace lap. Felt pretty good about that truck. It looks pretty good early on.
More on the second place truck of Cameron Haley with Hermie Sadler.
Well, Vince, the 13 is losing ground slightly to the leader. His truck is loose, as you can see on the screen. But if you believe in numbers, this could be a good day for the 13. Obviously, truck number 13, driving the 13th. He practiced all day long yesterday in pit stall number 13 on pit road. And they're carrying an onboard camera for us. And yes, it's numbered 13. So these guys think the numbers could be lining up for a great day for Cameron Haley.
You know, it's interesting. You talk about Friday the 13th and the 13 on Cameron Haley. Timothy Peters is the only driver tonight in the field tonight with a win on Friday the 13th. So, you know, there's a casino right next door. Maybe some people are putting their money on the 17 on the 13th.
Oh, there is a casino next door here?
and I will tell you this.
I'll show it to you
If
later.
Cameron Haley goes to Victory Lane on Friday the 13th, and that throws all the 13s that Hermie was talking about, he needs to go to the casino later tonight.
He's not old enough, is he?
Maybe I take a little bit in there for him. He's going to win a lot, right? There's the Gas Buddy truck. Is that Quapple running up high?
It is, yeah. There's Daniel Hemrick, the 19 truck right now, running in the 7th spot.
And this track is now to the point, your tires are the point. If you don't have the setup, you're going to start slipping and sliding. You're going to be all over this place. We saw how loose trucks are getting, and Cameron Haley specifically, and he's running in the 2nd spot. Imagine if you got a bad truck and you're running 20th, how much of a handful it is.
And he really hasn't lost that much ground to William Byron. He's about 2 seconds behind right now. They ran the exact same lap time the last lap.
And Hemrick, as you take a look at him, and a shot on the front there with the autism awareness symbol. And, of course, so much done here at Dover and throughout the course of the weekend by Autism Delaware, a big fundraiser, golf outing. Our own director, Artie Kempner, is part of the crew that heads that up, and they do so much for autism awareness and helping those with autism continue to lead a more normal life. And our hats off to him and all those that have made such a difference in this area and around the country.
And certainly Dover International Speedway as well. This whole weekend is really centered around the autism.
Yeah, what a passionate guy Artie is, and how much fun it is for everybody to go to his golf tournament and just feel the energy and feel the excitement for the wonderful things that Artie and Dover Autism Delaware have done. They're giving kids with autism a job when they get to be young adults. It's empowering them and making their lives more productive.
Brandon Jones currently in 2nd, and Cameron Haley is chasing him down.
Jones was able to slip around Haley here. We talked about how loose that 13 truck is. Loses a little bit of momentum, and whoa, he lost control of that truck for a second, and that allowed Jones to go around. He's driving right on the edge of control there.
Got a little bit of dirty air there, and he lost the back of that truck. Settled now in the 3rd spot.
Well, you said settled, Phil. How do you settle running 160 miles an hour with a truck that wants to spin out?
Yeah, somewhat settled.
He's going to want to get to pit road and make an adjustment. All these drivers would like to see that caution along about now or another 10 or 15 laps. And the caution clock is running. You can see we're down under 10 minutes. If we don't have a caution before that clock gets to 0, we will throw the caution and let these guys and teams adjust on their trucks, work on their trucks, and make them better so they can be more competitive, and we'll see a better race.
On board with Cole Custer. Coming off his season best finish last week at Kansas, 7th.
That was pretty good.
But you know, Custer's one of those guys that we talked about a little bit earlier that's outside the top 8 in that chase for the championship. Custer's all the way down in 19th in points as you look at Hemrick on the inside and Daniel Suarez on the outside. That's the battle for 6th.
And it's heating up.
Yeah.
Hemrick has got to the bottom, but it's loose down there. We've talked about that, and he's really having trouble hanging onto his truck. Look at that. Loose there, and away goes Suarez.
Really had the pedal down there. The back end got out from under him, lost a lot of momentum, and Cole Custer's going to drive right by him.
Well, that's because Daniel's trying to get his breath. I mean, when you lose one of these things, watch this. This looks like just a slight bobble, but Phil, you know this. I mean, he is about crashed right there. Wow. And you can see all the momentum go away. He holds it low, which was smart. And now, thanks to that save, look at those hands working in there. He's going to be able to continue the fight.
What a great job, and he can bring that truck as we watch from on board. Listen to the throttle.
You have movement. Tight right. You're going to get loose. Easy.
You can hear the tires squeal on that truck.
You do not want to hear your tires squeal.
No, you do not.
That's a rule when the weekend starts, especially at Dover. No tire squealing heard.
And when the spotter's saying easy, I mean, does he really need to say that? I mean, don't you feel that, right, inside when you're driving the truck? Or?
Without a doubt.
Well, that's Joey Meyer, and he's one of the best spotters there is in NASCAR, and he's just trying to help his young driver understand what he's up against.
He is indeed. Hey, William Byron led 34 en route to victory last week at Kansas. He's marching to the same beat here today. He's led them all so far in Delaware. On board with the 21 truck of Johnny Sauter. It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series from Dover.
Sauter runs down in the 15th position, and these guys are screaming for a caution. These trucks are loose, so they're sliding sideways, and our leader, William Byron, is catching some good trucks to try to put them a lap down.
We've been caution-free so far, and remember, 4 minutes to go. When that caution clock expires, we will have a caution.
And for the last 6 or 8 laps, Ben Kennedy has done a great job of holding off William Byron. He knows that clock is winding down. He gets a caution here. He might be able to get back in contention.
Matt Crafton running 3rd. Caitlin?
And he was 2nd last week at Kansas, which he told me that runner-up finish just fueled the fire even more for him to try and get a win here. And he already has a lot of motivation because he's raced 15 races at this track, but never won. He says, I really want one of those Miles the Monster trophies. Now, he told his team earlier that he's still too snug through the center, and he has run the right rear off the truck on that last run. He's holding down the 3rd spot. Hermie.
Well, Caitlin, as you can see by the caution clock in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, we're about 3 minutes away from a caution. One thing to watch, there is still some damp spots on pit road. Now, the concrete patches of pit road are pretty dry, but there's still some damp spots on the asphalt patches where you come into and exit your pit box. We'll see if that affects anybody's time on pit road.
And guys, remember, we've had 25 speeding penalties here in the last 4 races. We've averaged at least 5 per race. And oh, here we go. We're going to get
Yellow. He's going to come back up. Good job. Yellow's out.
That's the 20. The 22 of Austin Wayne Self. So before the caution clock can come into play, we've got
Jones.
Self spinning and Brandon Jones getting into the wall.
Brandon Jones
What happened there, Rick? 20 got booted by the...
Well, Brandon Jones was running 2nd at the time.
Yeah, he had to let off for the caution, you think, Phil, and maybe somebody didn't.
Somebody didn't realize it and got into the back of him.
I mean, I'm speculating, but...
Well, what a tough break for the 71 of Brandon Jones. See if we can get a look at it.
You see Brandon's right behind the 22.
Oh, he gets clipped. Oh, no, he just tries to make an evasive action. You talked about those self-cleaning banks. He was actually a part of that crash when the 22 got sideways.
It looked like he was trying to avoid the 22 and just couldn't corral it in.
Just unfortunate being in the wrong place at the wrong time for Brandon Jones. Take another look at it.
He tries to, look at that. Just right at the last second, he thought the 22 truck of Self was going to come up the hill. He made an evasive move to the right and just spun him around on the back straightaway. This place is so tough, and that's a perfect example of the banks that you talked about, Phil, and how...
Yeah, a flat straightaway, and Brandon Jones is not involved in this accident at all. He may spin, but he can spin down the racetrack without any contact.
On board with Brandon Jones.
88, about 10 back, so watch that right in front of you there. Keep digging. You're all clear. Hold on to it, 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 hold on to it.
Hard contact on the inside wall. That's just the wrong place. I mean, he just, you know,
he did a great job avoiding Austin Wayne Self in the 22, but unfortunately lost control of that truck doing it.
Austin Wayne Self was running 23rd at the time, and Brandon Jones was running second.
It looked like maybe Self and Bobby Pierce had a little bit of contact there, and it sent Self's truck around, and then that's where Brandon Jones had nowhere to go.
So now, Phil, you talked about these pit lane speeding violations that we've had throughout the course of our racing here at Dover. Now you got 22 lead lap trucks coming to pit road on a tight pit road to begin with. Hermie mentioned a little bit of dampness on pit road. No telling what we're going to see here on this stop.
And these guys are really wanting some adjustments. A lot of these trucks right now have lost the handle. They really need to work on these trucks to get them under them.
William Byron is the leader, bringing them to pit road. Let's check in with Hermie.
The 13 of Cameron Haley really needed this caution. His truck is loose. They're going to put 4 tires on this truck. They're going to put a spring rubber in the left rear and lower the track bar for the 13. Caitlin.
Well, Matt Crafton in the middle of your screen told his team that he's snug from middle off. It is up off the track too much, so they're going to do 4 tires, fuel, and 2 rounds down on the track bar, along with an air pressure adjustment for the 88. Looking at William Byron, the race winner last week at the bottom of your screen. He is free in and off the turns. They're going to do 4 tires, fuel, and air for the 9 truck.
William takes advantage of that first pit stall and drives off with the lead.
How about Cole Custer coming out second, guys?
Picks up 4 spots. Great work by that team down on pit road.
Getting it done on pit road can make all the difference. Tough night for Austin Wayne Self and the 71 of Brandon Jones. Hey, this Sunday, immediately following the Sprint Cup race here on FS1, the high horsepower action continues with NHRA drag racing from Atlanta, Georgia. And so far, 2016 has been the year of the women. Brittany Force currently leads the top fuel standings. Her sister Courtney tied for the lead in funny car. It's the 36th annual Summit Racing Southern Nationals this Sunday, 4:30 Eastern, only on FS1. Well, our first pit stops of the evening have come and gone. Bobby Pierce penalized for too fast speeding on pit road. William Byron and Cole Custer will bring us back to the green.
Byron likes that outside.
He really has that nice momentum off turn number 2, but look at Cole Custer, hard on the throttle, down on the bottom.
Golly, that's so tough to hold on your truck. Look at Custer get sideways. Hate to see him get loose and take out the leader. Oh, he loses and he gets into William Byron.
Just as you said it, Michael, Cole Custer did get loose and clipped the 9 of William Byron. So Custer now to the front, and here comes Matt Crafton trying to get inside of Byron.
I started to say, if you're going to get away with it, maybe you can get away with it on new tires. Unfortunately, he couldn't do that.
Now, that's so close to wrecking that fast number 9 truck.
And himself.
Ooh.
So Cole Custer bringing him to the line in the lead as you see Daniel Hemrick and Daniel Suarez doing battle. That's for 5th place. Suarez on the outside of the 51 truck.
Hemrick working the bottom.
Playing with that throttle. Trying to make sure that truck doesn't get loose on him. We saw him get really loose early on.
Custer in the lead. William Byron in second. Here's how it happened.
He just got loose, had to use some more racetrack, had to move up the hill, and when he did, he got into the left rear quarter panel of that Liberty University Toyota.
And then he tucked it to the left and grabbed the lead. Caused a bit of a problem for Byron, but it benefited him. Neither truck too much problem.
You know, it's been a bit of a struggle for Cole Custer this season. As he's out front, and you look at the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek. But Cole Custer, 7th last week at Kansas, but that's his best finish of the season. He opened up with 24th at Daytona, 17th at Atlanta, 3rd in Martinsville. They ran better than what those finishes were, but they just couldn't get it done in regards to completing the job at the end of the day. And maybe that 7th place last week at Kansas got to turn in the right direction.
Yeah, and this is a young man that went to victory lane as a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old here in the Truck Series.
And this is the first laps he's led in 2016, so he's got it righted here in Dover.
Ben Rhodes just slipping in front of Tyler Reddick. By the way, the 22 of Austin Wayne Self has been released and cleared from the infield care center after that incident involving himself and the 71 of Brandon Jones.
Seen a lot of bent cars and trucks here today. That's the Monster Mile here at Dover International Speedway. This place is just tough like that.
You know, during a commercial break when we were racing on the green, Michael and I were talking about, you know, a lot of times we look out our window and the cars really don't, or trucks really don't seem like they're going fast. They look like they're going fast all the way around this racetrack.
Spinning here, got one spinning up top against the wire.
That was a heck of a save. I'm so impressed with Brandon Brown. He had a flat tire.
Brandon Brown has really done an outstanding job all year long.
Perhaps a track bar or a rear end problem there, Phil. That something doesn't look right back there. But I'm telling you, I was watching him march through traffic, 3 wide, running high, doing special things behind the wheel of that truck. And whatever broke there, he did an amazing job not wrecking that truck.
Yeah, you can see that left rear tire all the way out against the fender, which means that rear end is not aligned right now.
Hey, the 00 has been penalized. In fact, black flagged because he jumped the restart on that previous restart. Watch it, 00 on the inside truck, the outside truck, the 9 of William Byron's the lead truck, and they say that the 00 jumped the restart. And because of that, he's been black flagged.
William Byron is supposed to dictate when the trucks take off. And obviously, Cole Custer was rolling before William Byron did, and they black flagged him. Does that mean none of these laps he's led counted?
Well, and remember, NASCAR was on alert after last week's restart. It's somewhat controversial between the 17 of Timothy Peters involved in that one. Let's listen to the throttle.
And
he definitely eased onto the throttle, Phil, made a little momentum, and then when he felt Byron go, I think that it gave him the momentum because he'd gotten the gas a little bit early. This is really close.
Pay attention to the restart zone here. Remember, the inside truck cannot go past or make that move in that restart zone prior to the outside truck.
He just can't go first.
Yes.
The control truck, in this case, is the 9 of William Byron.
Man.
And that's a really close call right there.
Well, we've warned the drivers at the drivers meeting that what happened last week at Kansas can't happen again, and that was Timothy Peters moved first in the restart zone, and he wasn't the leader of the race. That time they deemed that Cole Custer did the same thing and are going to black flag him.
Boy, that was a tough.
And you know what that does?
Call.
It sends a message across all the top series of NASCAR. The Cup guys, the Sprint Cup guys are watching and seeing how this game is played. So are the Xfinity racers. They all want to know what the rules are.
At the line, you'll have to drop to the back.
So you heard it there. Cole Custer is going to have to drop to the back. And there's the explanation being delivered to the team.
Yeah, that's Joe
Scheer up on the left side is the crew chief for Cole Custer.
Custer's going to bring it to pit road, probably get a little fuel just in case there's a long run here. Going to the back anyway. And you know, Phil, our cameras were all over the restart at Kansas, and they had all that audio to see what has happened here in Dover. Watch last week with Timothy Peters. He rolls first right there. Doesn't matter that he slowed down and gave it back to Matt Crafton. He took off first.
Yeah, but that was way more flagrant than what Cole Custer just did. Listen here. We saw out Matt Crafton's window Timothy Peters going before Matt ever got in the throttle.
But I will tell you this, if the rule is the inside guy can't start first, and Cole Custer started first. Yes. He did it he didn't do it as frequently as we saw at Kansas, but he definitely gassed his truck first. That gives the advantage to Custer and takes it away from the leader. NASCAR reacted to it.
And we should make sure and point out it's not just necessarily because he was the inside truck. He was the inside truck, but the outside truck at that time was William Byron, who was the control truck.
Exactly right.
Let's go downstairs and get with Hermie. Hermie?
As you would expect, crew chief Joe Shear and spotter Eddie DeHaan say they looked at the replay. They do not think the 00 did anything wrong, but a judgment call by NASCAR. He's in the back. They came down pit road, topped it off with fuel, raised the track bar 1 round on the right side.
I'll be interested to see how the community, the other drivers, look at this restart, because to me, it's clear the guy on the inside can't go first. He clearly went first, and that gives him the advantage then. NASCAR said you can't do that.
Michael, I think it's interesting because you mentioned the community of drivers, the Xfinity Series drivers and the Sprint Cup Series drivers. They are watching this situation very closely because that's going to affect them tomorrow and Sunday.
That's why the question was posed last week at Kansas because of our truck race.
Well, Matt Crafton then up there in the front with William Byron. Let's get more on the 88 with Caitlin.
Well, before the previous caution, that team had a very lucky break as Matt was reporting a vibration on that right front tire. He thought it was coming apart, but turns out it was just the lug nuts were not tight enough on that tire. And crew chief Junior Joyner took a look at it and said the tire wear was fine, but certainly that caution and that pit stop, a big lucky break for the 88. Hermie.
Caitlin, the 13 of Cameron Haley, came down pit road on the caution flag. 3rd, went out 11th. It took him a little while, as you can see on the camera. He comes in to the pit box, comes to a stop. They work on the right side, getting ready to make a chassis adjustment. All looks well, but the issue happens on the left side of the truck. They get the right front tire on. A little bit slow there, but as they go around to the left side, watch the left rear tire changer. Once he gets the tire off, a split second, he goes inside the fender well of the truck to install a left rear spring rubber. Took a little extra time, but crew chief Eddie Traconis said we want to do that now, so hopefully we can only do air pressure on the next stop.
Yeah, if you can take that a little extra time now, if it pays off for you in the long run.
That's a huge call by that crew chief. He knew he was going to give up a lot of spots on pit road.
Getting ready to go back to racing. The green is out. William Byron leads Matt Crafton to the line. Into turn 1, Byron with Crafton right on his tailgate. Daniel Suarez taking a look on the outside.
You know, we haven't talked a whole lot about Matt Tiff, but what an outstanding job he's done right now, racing with Suarez for 3rd.
Scott Tift finished 14th last week with Scott Zipadelli.
Oh, we got a spin, a crash in turn 4.
Yellow's out. Yellow's out.
The
Rico
98.
Abreu.
Rico Abreu in the 98. The 41 is Ben Rhodes.
Absolutely screwed up too.
Or a couple trucks out of the Thor Sports stable.
That has all the look and feel of what I've been talking about all day long, how the truck on the bottom gets loose. We'll see if that's the case, but that certainly is the result of a truck on the bottom getting loose. A couple of teammates restarting 6th and 7th, and those trucks are toast.
Wow, look at all the damage to Ben Rhodes' Carolina Nut truck. Wow.
Well, Ben Rhodes had a chance to win last week at Kansas. Made a move, ended up getting caught up with Johnny Sauter. They ended up crashed. And then here's the 98 of Rico Abreu. Damage on his truck as well.
Again, the 41 of Ben Rhodes. Well, I wonder if they got together because Ben was already up high into the outside wall.
I feel like they did, Phil, but we got to watch. These replays are so valuable. The FS1 cameramen and women, they just do a great job of getting us these pictures.
And a tough break for Rico Abreu. Had contact last week at Kansas, early stages of the race. Watch it here from Ryan Truex's truck.
That looked like Ben Rhodes maybe was the truck on the inside. Got loose and got into Rico.
And you remember he was involved in that controversial crash late at Kansas, last lap at Kansas, and this time he's down on the bottom of the racetrack and he gets loose and wrecks his teammate.
62 races, 62 laps in. They're trying to do some repairs to that 41. William Byron out front. Early stages here at the Monster Mile in Dover. 64 laps of 200 in the books. Take a look at our Ford facts. We've had 3 Camping World Truck Series winners piloting Fords.
Kurt Busch, that was his rookie season when he went to victory lane here at Dover.
We knew he was going to be special as soon as he showed up.
Like he won 3 races his rookie year.
Yeah, and there's a lot of kids out there now that you would put in that same Kurt Busch category. William Byron, so impressive. Matt Tift up there in the top 3. Reddick with a big win here a year ago. I think Daniel Hemrick's just, and Daniel Suarez, just 2 guys that are waiting right on the edge of going to victory lane as we ride along with Hemrick here.
Yeah, they're getting better and better, too. He and Chad Kendrick and that entire Brad Keselowski crew are really gaining on it. Had that best career finish we talked about last week at Kansas.
Ryan Truex has been fun to watch this year, too.
He's up into that 9th spot. If the chase started today, he would be in. And I don't think there are a lot of people that would have said that when he showed up at Daytona for the season opener.
I'm not sure that Ryan would have said that because they really didn't know till a week or two before that race that they were even going to go. But Shiggy Hattori decided to put a team together, grabbed Ryan to drive it, and it's been pretty darn good.
And what about Sauter? He's raced from that starting spot in the middle of the field up inside the top 10. We know he has the knowledge and the experience, and I think that's what we have to follow along, guys. Matt Crafton, he's going to make the adjustments to that 88 truck with his crew chief, Junior Joyner, because he has the knowledge of what this track's going to do. Johnny Sauter's in that same situation. He knows what he needs to do in order to be good at the end of this race.
Brandon Jones on board with him there, but he's a lap down after having that contact in the incident with Austin Wayne Self earlier.
Yeah, and a lot of damage, too, so I think he's pretty much crippled. But here's Cole Custer. He thought he was leading this race. They actually took the laps led away from him. Black flagged him for jumping the restart, put him all the way back to the back of the field. He's made his way back up to the 16th spot now.
You think it was a good call, Michael, on the restart?
I think it was the right call. Yep. The leader has earned the right to have the advantage on the restart. The move that Custer made took the advantage away from the leader. I think NASCAR got it right. And I think they did Custer a big break by waiting until the caution to black flag him. Kept him on the lead lap. If he has to come down pit road under green, he's a lap, maybe 2 down.
William Byron, because of those laps taken away from Cole Custer, Byron has led them all. He'll restart on the outside with Matt Crafton on the inside. Back to racing at the Monster Mile.
Boy, Matt Crafton's not going to take any chances on jumping the restart.
Well, he's a veteran. He's experienced. He knows he's going to have the truck to deal with that 9 of William Byron later on. No sense in going to the tail of the field like we saw happen to Custer.
William Byron leading, Matt Crafton second. They combined to lead 91 of the 170 laps last week at Kansas. Finished first and second in that race, and that's how they're running right now. Byron in the lead, Crafton, the 2-time series champ, running second.
Remember last year we talked about Tyler Reddick going to victory lane. Matt Crafton was busted for speeding on his last pit stop. Took all his track position away, fought back to 5th, but he was running second, had a shot to win that race. A speeding penalty took it away.
There's Spencer Gallagher in that 23 working the inside line with Cole Custer and John Hunter Nemechek outside.
Inside, 3 wide.
That was a big wiggle from Custer in that 0-0, and he saved it.
How about Kaz Gralla? What a nice job that young man's doing in that number 33 Allegiant Travel Chevy.
17 years old. And there's Tyler Reddick making the move inside of Daniel Suarez for third.
Boy, Tyler Reddick is on the move. They really struggled, admittedly, in practice. Did not feel like that truck was very good. Doug Randolph and his guys got together, making a bunch of changes. Looks pretty good right now.
Check out Cole Custer. Back here in this jam session, that's Kaz Gralla ahead of him. Kaz is a wonderful young man. Had a chance to talk to him and his family last night. So happy to be racing a truck here. And watch this move he makes after the big slide by Cole Custer.
Yeah, that was a pretty small hole that Cole thought about driving through. Lost his momentum a little bit. Kaz was able to jump on that, get by both those trucks.
Yeah, and these races are so short, Phil. You see an opening like that, you got to hop on it. And even though Kaz is young and inexperienced, he knew that, and he took advantage of it.
After being black flagged, Custer restarts 16th, so he went from the front of the field to the middle of the pack. As you look at Tyler Reddick, last year's winner in that 29, and Daniel Suarez trying to catch up.
One thing a lot of the crew chiefs down in the garage are talking about is the fact that track position is very, very critical here. And you wouldn't think it would be. It's a real wide racetrack, but this track position is critical. They're thinking about maybe doing 2 tires later on. Remember, Eric Jones did that, and it took the entire run for Tyler Reddick to catch him. Caught him with about 3 laps to go to get that win.
Battle for 10th with Gallagher getting past Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, teammates racing again. We saw that not work out earlier in this race, but great run by Spencer Gallagher. He's pushed his way into the top 10. Looks like he's got a good 23 truck.
You talk about Spencer Gallagher and this GMS, his teammate Johnny Sauter, the efforts that this GMS team has made to step up their program. They've tripled in size over the course of the last couple of years, and they are big-time players in the Truck Series, and they've got their sights on the Xfinity Series and beyond.
And Spencer's coming off 3 top 10s in a row for him, so good string of races for him.
Yeah, and I love what this team is doing, Vince. A lot of people have not been able to expand their teams into NASCAR, and they're doing just that, one of the few.
Cole Custer up another spot now, 13th, and he's pursuing the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek.
If you're going to make a mistake, we've talked about it a lot, make it early. Cole Custer made that mistake early. He jumped the restart, but right now he's almost just outside the top 10, so he has a chance to overcome that mistake.
Look at him drive that thing, too, just hanging out in the corners, using that higher line.
What a beautiful night it has turned out to be here in Dover, Delaware. We had rain earlier today, washed out not only Camping World Truck Series qualifying, but Sprint Cup qualifying also. But the rain has moved out of the area. The sun is out, and it is a beautiful evening here at the Monster Mile. And it's even better when you're looking out the front window of that 9 truck, right?
Yeah, life is beautiful for William Byron right now.
He's let them all at Dover. Back to the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware. The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Under caution, the 07 of C.J. Faison off the pace. Tell you more about that in a moment, but look at the trucks coming to pit road, led by our race leader, William Byron, who's led all 80 of them so far. They're coming to pit road, and we're going to check in downstairs with Hermie.
Tyler Reddick, first piece of strategy, 2 right side tires only for Tyler Reddick. Truck's a little bit tight, looking for some track position. Caitlin.
Well, Matt Crafton in the middle of your screen, he told his team, my truck is sliding across the rubber on the track and it is shattering my tires. So the 88 team is going to go ahead and take 4 tires. And now looking at the bottom of your screen of the 9 truck of William Byron, he said we are still free on entry and exit, but it is getting better. The track is getting freer as we go. They're also going to take 4 tires.
Well, we saw a couple of trucks going for 2, and they were the first 2 off pit road, and they were the teammates out of the Brad Keselowski Racing stable, the 29 of Tyler Reddick and the 19 of Daniel Hemrick.
John West Townley elected to stay out along with Jordan Anderson. Jordan's been off the pace a bit, but Townley's...
He got the free pass, so he's going to be back on the lead lap.
And Townley, though, he's had a good truck. It'd be interesting to see his strategy.
Watch this now. It looked like Matt Crafton was thinking that William Byron was not going pit road speed or fast enough to go down pit road speed. Now watch when he pulls out from behind the 9 truck. He's going to speed up because he knows where the timelines are, and that he's going to parlay that into beating William out of the pits. He will be the first truck lined up with 4 tires behind those guys that changed 2, and John West Townley, who stayed out.
And that's just taking advantage of all you can on pit road. Matt Crafton, the veteran, he knew that Byron wasn't going fast enough. He was trying to tell him by bumping him in the back, and then he got in his box better than William. You saw William kind of swung out before turning into his box. That cost him all ever precious time that ended up costing him the position of Crafton.
How about the 41 of Ben Rhodes? Contact earlier, and what's happening down there, Hermie?
Well, Vince, you can see a lot of damage and already a fair amount of repairs being done. Ben Rhodes, understandably so, very upset, disappointed, 2nd weekend in a row in the garage with a torn up truck. He is not taking the window net down, but still a lot of work to be done, a lot of damage to the right front and the right rear of this truck. But got to give these guys from ThorSport a lot of credit. They have been all over this truck trying to get it together since he got back to the garage area. But you can see with that impact with his teammate, unfortunately so, a lot of damage on that 41, but they do plan to get him back on the racetrack.
That's right, Ben Rhodes in the 41. The 98 is Rico Abreu. And of course, that's tonight, but how about a week ago at Kansas? This is on the last lap of the race. Johnny Sauter in the lead, and there's Ben Rhodes in 2nd.
What a great position he was in right here. Tries to make the move to the inside. Johnny came back down, made hard contact into the outside wall.
You know, this is almost excusable. It was overzealous. He had a hole. He tried to get in it. Johnny Sauter certainly didn't do anything wrong, and he got wrecked by Ben. But what happened early in this race, if you get loose down on the inside of anyone, it's a bad deal early in the race. But certainly your teammate, that's something that the team will have to talk about.
Well, John West Townley stayed out, was 19th prior to that caution, and everybody coming to pit road. So John West Townley stays out, takes the lead. And by the way, we talked about the 29 and the 19 taking only 2 tires. So the 29 in second place. The 19 moved from 7th to 3rd. Here's radio from John West Townley's truck.
I know you're going to probably fall back here a little bit. We'll see what it does in clean air, not having to try to pass jump truck, and you'll be all right. Just get up on the wheel and drive it like I know you can. 10-4.
That's what he's going to do. But I don't know about this decision to take the lower line, Phil. We've seen how tough that is to do. He has taken that bottom row, and be interesting to see if he spins his tires with the buildup of rubber on them, because sitting right behind him is Daniel Hemrick. He might try to take advantage of this.
Matt Crafton in that yellow, bright yellow 88. He's the first truck with 4 tires. The restart is on, and Townley on the inside. Tyler Reddick on the outside for the lead.
I just like Daniel Hemrick as a racer. He had the run. He could have put him 3 wide at Dover. He just knows that's a bad decision, especially before halfway. Push Townley, trying to get him going. And that was the move he decided to make.
And that's why he had a top 5 here last year, because he's smart.
The 2 tires of Reddick, 1 out over the no tires of Townley. So Townley slips back to 2nd, and now you're on board with Daniel Hemrick, another one of those trucks that has just 2 fresh ones on.
Look at Cameron Haley. No one's been able to do what he's trying to do, and that's past William Byron.
I think William had ideas of maybe jumping to the outside of Daniel Hemrick. Didn't work right there. Look at this wad of trucks here. There's Ryan Truex, the 81, moving up on the 00 of Cole Custer. Matt Tifton, the 11, side by side now with Custer.
That group was led by the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek. He is in 9th. Right in there around 9th, 10th, 11th. Whoa. Custer is 11th, trying to hold on.
Trying to hold on to that truck. He got loose again.
Come on with it.
Truex takes him.
Still there.
Look at.
All right, mat it right here. You're clear off. All clear off.
Matted, I like that. And that's what Truex is doing.
That's Clayton Hughes, his brother Martin's spotter for the Furniture Row team, doing a spot for Ryan.
Look at that move Cole Custer makes. He's able to hang on the bottom and gain momentum on exit.
I think Custer's got some decent speed.
Oh, here he goes. There he goes.
He's found himself in the worst position sometimes.
Well, he puts himself in those positions. That was just diving in on the inside of another truck. We've talked about it. That's hard to do. You can't rough up everybody you race against, but that's what you see in the Truck Series. These guys, they do not shy away from a chance to get inside of another truck, and even though they know what the results can be.
Looked like every time the 00 of Cole Custer got in the inside, he got loose.
The battle for 3rd, Daniel Suarez and John West Townley. Suarez on the inside getting the spot, and Hemrick is stalking as well. Look at Hemrick in that orange and white and green car. He's all over John West Townley.
Remember, John West pitted 18 laps before the rest of these guys did. Watch John West now with that 05 truck on older tires.
She's hanging out. She's hanging out. I'm coming in.
Yeah, she's sideways, and here I come.
But you got to appreciate the job John West is doing, hanging in the top 5 on those worn tires.
And remember, he came from 19th, so they've lost some spots, but they're not nearly as far back as they would have possibly been if they would have gone with the same strategy as everyone else.
And I think it was a good gamble, because the rest of these guys were going to have to pit again. They pitted on lap 81. You could only go about 75 laps, even though the caution clock would run out before that.
Jimmy Villeneuve, the crew chief on that 05, taking over for Michael Shelton, the longtime crew chief there.
Hey,
John West Townley.
That's a crew chief saying, all right, I'm new to town. I want to show these boys I know how to get my truck up front. John West, he told them, need you to hang on to it for a few laps. We'll fall back a little bit, but I think we will even out ahead of the game by this decision, and it looks like that's the case.
We haven't talked much about Christopher Bell tonight, but there's Bell moving inside for 7th.
A lot of talk in the garage area was that 4 truck was very, very fast. We said, who's the best trucks down here? And a lot of people said the 9 of William Byron and this 4 right here, Christopher Bell. And you certainly can never discount the 88 of Matt Crafton, who right now runs 2nd.
Yeah, and we talked about his knowledge and his experience and that relationship he has with his crew chief, Junior Joyner. Not only do they work together, they're best buddies, and they know exactly what they're doing to make adjustments and be better as the race continues. Look at Crafton now, closing right up on the back of leader Tyler Reddick.
But Reddick has done a really nice job, Hermie, by only going with those 2 tires.
Look at the 29 of Tyler Reddick on 2 tires, trying to hold off Crafton on 4 tires. They have told him the last 3 or 4 laps, back the corner up and paint that yellow line around the bottom of this racetrack do not allow the 88 to get any air on the front of that truck. So he's looking out front, but also looking at the rearview mirror and trying to shatter that line of the 88.
Battles all over the racetrack. Johnny Sauter on the right-hand side with John West Townley. Then on the left, it's Daniel Hemrick on board with Hemrick.
Trying to get by the 0-5 of John West Townley.
There's Hemrick. He's got that forward onboard camera, and he's right down on that bottom of the racetrack. You can see Cameron Haley breathing down the back of that truck. Haley's made that adjustment, lost all those positions on pit road, but his crew chief decided it was going to be worth it early to make that decision. And Phil, the way that truck's sticking now compared to the way he was sliding around early, might have to tip the hat to the crew down there on the 13.
You see Johnny Sauter, the Allegiant number 21, on board on the left, trying to get by John West. John West has moved up the racetrack, giving him plenty of room as Cameron Haley drives to the inside of Hemrick, right side of your screen.
On the left side, it's for 10th. On the right side, it's for 6th.
Man, I love the way these guys battle. Sauter trying to get it done on the bottom. Tiff, the same thing. You just really have to make sure when you dive to the corner, Phil, the front of that truck doesn't want to wash up when you're inside of another truck. You have to turn the wheels more. That's when you get loose. If you can let off a little bit early, get your truck pointed early, and stay right down next to the black like you see Tiff doing, that's textbook right there. Great job by that young racer.
Great racing all over the mile track here.
Hey, John West has done a really nice job. He's settled in about the 10th spot there, but looks like his lap times have evened out with the trucks around him.
And you know what? He's got the attention of all the people that are racing tomorrow, the Xfinity guys, the Cup guys. He's moved up. He's up in that second, third groove with those older tires, and he's making it work. Only losing a spot every now and then.
Again, the battle for 10th. Saw Johnny Sauter on board with Sauter now. Already a winner this season. Spot in the chase secured. Winner at the season opener at Daytona.
Tiff once more. Look at that. Just dives in, keeps it right down on the bottom, and just makes easy work of Hemrick.
Halfway here at Dover, 100 of 200.
Remember, we've got 2 tires on Daniel Hemrick right now. He's dropped back a few spots, but Tyler Reddick on 2 tires still holds on to the lead with that clean air.
Yeah, that's a big advantage, but Crafton is just hounding him. You would think he'll eventually wear him down, but great job so far by Reddick. Great job by Matt Tiff in driving his way back up through the field. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of that kid.
Spencer Gallagher on the outside. Good look at the 33. Kaz Grala, 17 years old in that 33 truck.
These guys are battling for the 16th spot.
Look at Rico Abreu. He got punted into the wall.
Still on the lead lap, never lost a lap.
Remember a tough break early in the race last week at Kansas for Rico, and he didn't get the laps, the experience that he needs. He talked about loving this Dover track and looking forward to his chance. He's got a wounded truck, and he's going to town.
You know, it's interesting. Rico told me he's had the seat in his truck lowered by about 1.5 inches, and he said it gives him a better feel for the way he feels. And he's a little person, so he said it helps his legs, and the positioning of his legs makes it more comfortable. Instead of his legs being at 90 degrees to the pedals, they're more outstretched. He said it's made a big difference in his comfort within the truck.
Look at Truex continuing to move. He dives to the inside of Hemrick. Hemrick's truck's really going away, Phil. He's dropped all the way back to the 9th, 10th place, so that truck's struggling.
Yeah, that may be a situation where 2 tires might not be the right thing to do for that truck, but that clean air is working for Tyler Reddick.
Reddick doesn't even have a top 10 this season. His best finish has been 13th. He was the winner last year, though, and he's trying to hang on for another. Action everywhere. Don't go away. Back to Dover in a moment. Has scared some, but Tyler Reddick not frightened at all. started in row 8 in this Camping World Truck Series race here tonight at Dover, and he has made his way to the front. Reddick is your leader, and he won this race a year ago.
He's not been able to get out of the shadow of Matt Crafton, though. Matt has been on him from the time they restarted this race.
And look who's coming. There's Daniel Suarez. We talked about he would be a real contender in this race. Right behind them, William Byron is there as well. So it's tight at the front. It looks like right now Suarez has the fastest truck. He's been able to really close over the last 5 or 6 laps.
There's the battle for 8th, the 8 of John Hunter Nemechek, the 21 of Johnny Sauter. We've had 3 different leaders tonight, and we're just past the halfway mark. This is lap 114 of 200, and the eventual winner hasn't led in the race 11 of the 16 times here, so we're waiting for that, maybe that next person that's taking the lead, maybe that Matt Crafton who's stalking, thinking, I'm going to keep that statistic alive and take the lead here and go on to win this thing.
Yeah, maybe Suarez, too. As Michael mentioned, Suarez really looked like he was on the move.
We keep waiting for Daniel Suarez, whether it's in the Xfinity Series or the Truck Series, to win. It's just, he's a win waiting to happen, isn't he?
And look at this challenge, though, right on his tailgate. That's William Byron. He's looking to take that 3rd spot over, and they brought Christopher Bell up there as well. That's our top 5 trucks, and we're well into this green flag run.
Yeah, that is the lead pack. Reddick, the leader. Crafton in that bright yellow machine in 2nd. Suarez in 3rd. William Byron in 4th. Byron's led the most laps tonight, 80 of the laps.
He lost the lead on pit road. Matt Crafton was able to beat him out, as well as a couple guys. The Brad Keselowski trucks changing 2 tires. John West Townley stayed out on the racetrack. He's fallen back to 16th now.
Remember, Reddick has 2 tires. Crafton 4.
Well, they all have 4 tires.
Well, they do.
Yeah. He changed 2 tires.
That would be something special. Now, that would be worth tuning into. Yeah, you know what I mean. Hermie, get me out of this, Hermie.
I got you, Vince. This Cole Custer still trying to recover from a penalty on a restart, back up to the 11th position. His truck has been loose through the center of the corner, but watch the line that he is running on the racetrack. He was one of the first trucks to move around a little bit on the racetrack now. He's having to use the bottom of the racetrack in traffic, but until this point, he was moving to the middle, to the top side of the racetrack, and finding some grip and speed to work his way through some traffic. Caitlin?
Well, Hermie, Spencer Gallagher started 21st, but he is steadily making his way through the field. He's shown now in the 13th position. And Phil, you mentioned those 3 top 10s he's had in a row. Well, Spencer told me he's been disappointed with that. He feels like they've had better trucks than where their finishes have shown. And he said, looking at Dover, he said, this place is solely dedicated to forcing you out of your comfort zone. But he seems to be doing a pretty good job. He's still holding down P13. Vince?
Now, Spencer Gallagher ran 12th here last year. And, you know, you talk about the 3 top 10s. 2 of those were 10th. They're still top 10s,
top 10.
but that's not what that team is looking for and expects.
Yeah, look at Matt Crafton. We heard about Cole Custer running that upper lane. Crafton's trying to tiptoe around and look on the outside of our leader, Tyler Reddick. There's only just under 5 minutes to go before we'll have a caution clock if the flag doesn't fly before then. So Matt Crafton knows it's time to make a move. We got to take control of this race. We heard Vince talk about the eventual winner hadn't led till past halfway. I like where Matt Crafton and Daniel Suarez are setting right now.
See, John Hunter Nemechek jumps to the inside of Ryan Truex. Ryan's going to fight back on the outside.
Good move by Truex.
Yeah.
He keeps that spot by running hard on the high side.
Good momentum. You know, he's got a 2nd place finish here in the Xfinity races. We got a battle for the lead.
Crafton on the inside, the power move. Can he make it stick? He does. Matt Crafton to the point.
About 4 minutes.
Crafton is the leader, and Tyler Reddick slips to 2nd, but here comes Daniel Suarez.
You heard it. Matt Crafton's team tell him, let's drive away. Now we've got 4 minutes till the caution clock runs out.
Cameron Haley was running 6th. Ran out of fuel in that 13 truck. Hermie had to come to pit road. What's going on?
Yeah, out of fuel. The motor was not running when he came by me on pit road. It came down only about 3 minutes and 35 seconds prior to the caution clock expiring. So they came down pit road, had to refire the engine, 4 tires and fuel for Cameron Haley.
What a costly mistake. mistake as you see the second place exchanging hands as Suarez gets underneath Reddick. Those two tires starting to become a penalty for Reddick now?
I think so, Vince, but watch what he's been able to do. They know, the crew chiefs have paid attention down there. They know that those tires were good enough to lead this race for
40 laps.
For some 40 laps. If we get a caution with 40 to go, watch for all kinds of different strategies on pit road.
And now there's a couple of teammates, William Byron and Christopher Bell out of the Kyle Busch Motorsports team.
I was watching these two trucks when they had clean racetrack. They were the fastest trucks on the racetrack. Now Matt Crafton has some clean racetrack, even though he's in some lap traffic. We'll see what he can do compared to these two KBM trucks.
Well, those KBM Toyotas looking to eat up that 29 of Tyler Reddick as John West Townley has come to pit road. The caution clock approaching 2.5 minutes. We're going to have a caution here in 2.5. If you can hang that long, Townley obviously couldn't, nor could Cameron Haley.
Yeah, Townley will stay out when the caution clock does fly. He didn't come to pit road last time, but he's going to lose a couple laps here. Only get one of them back by taking the wave round. So this strategy hasn't paid off for that team.
No, and there's no way that he needed fuel because he pitted on lap 63. We'd only run 64 laps, some of those being cautions, so undoubtedly had some sort of an issue. Maybe the tires completely went away, as it looks like the fourth, Christopher Bell, had designs on maybe getting by William Byron in that 9 truck.
Yeah, we haven't seen that happen today, Phil. Nobody's been able to do anything with the 9 truck. He's been fast, but when he gets in lap...
2 minutes to the clock. 2 minutes.
2 minutes to the clock. When he gets in lap traffic, we saw it earlier, he caught Ben Kennedy and just rode behind Kennedy. He can't figure out a way to get around Reddick. How much is that is his inexperience and trying to understand what moves he can and can't make?
And I think that goes to what the crew chiefs were talking about, track position being so critical here. Right now, Matt Crafton has clean air. He's only been able to put about a half a second on Suarez. But there he is right there, that yellow number 88. He's been in some pretty heavy traffic.
As exciting as it has been on track, it's going to get even, well, another level of excitement here in 1 minute and 20 seconds when the caution waves and all these trucks come to pit road for the final time.
Probably, potentially the final time. And remember, guys, this is a pretty difficult pit road to get onto and to maintain your speed. We mentioned we had 25 speeding penalties here in the last 4 races.
Had a couple of them tonight as well. Watch Tyler Reddick hang on to it here with William Byron pressuring him.
And see, Byron, his truck was pushing because the air off of the 29. He couldn't take advantage of that slip by Reddick. Had to stay behind him.
Matt Crafton is your leader. Under a minute until the caution clock expires. The 13 of Cameron Haley, more trouble.
You know, on his first pit stop, when they put that rubber in, he killed the engine. I watched smoke come out the pipes as he refired it. Heard him talking to the team. Something's going on.
Leaders got it. Leaders the 88 lap.
The 05 of John West Townley has gotten into the wall.
That's a
just
tough
before
break.
the caution clock expires.
They had just come to pit road. He only pitted 7 laps ago.
Yeah, and all he needed to do, he was ahead of our leader, Matt Crafton. He was going to get a lap back when the caution flew. He just needed to ride to the caution. Don't know what caused this wreck by Townley.
30 seconds away from that caution clock coming out.
Look at our leader, Crafton. This should be Townley just ahead of him, yeah.
Ooh.
And then it just snaps back the wrong direction.
Hard hit for Townley.
What a break for Timothy Peters. That's him right in front of John West Townley. So he more than likely will remain on the lead lap by virtue of this caution flag. Look at that safer barrier there. Thank you so much for them.
Yeah, no kidding. You and I both challenged these monsters walls when that safer barrier wasn't there.
Yeah, that beat us most of the time.
It's
too.
undefeated.
Totally.
100%.
Totally.
Another tough break for John West Townley. 26th last week at Kansas, 21st the race before at Martinsville. They've got better trucks, but just haven't gotten the finishes. 26th at the season opener at Daytona. And trouble again here tonight in Dover. Here's what John West Townley dealt with last week at Kansas. He's on the outside, that 05.
Yeah, really a victim of circumstances there. The 8 of John Hunter Nemechek gets loose and gets into John West. John West would have saved it had Parker Kligerman not been there on the inside of him. Look at all the damage to that 05 Jive truck.
And believe me, Parker Kligerman wished he wasn't there.
Oof.
That was a hard hit
Really
at the
hard
outside
hit.
wall. We talked about the issues for Cameron Haley. Looks like they're looking at the fuel system and under the hood to try to figure out what's going on there.
Hermie?
The 13 of Cameron Haley back on pit road. Here's communication from the 13 to his crew.
They show no fuel pressure, and it's Blake, it's not electrical. The motor's still running.
Still trying to diagnose the problem. Thought maybe a fuel pump cable. Really a mystery as to what's going on with the 13 as these trucks begin to come down pit road now. The 29 of Tyler Reddick took 2 tires last time down pit road. They're going to get 4 tires on this pit stop. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and hope they can maintain this track position for Tyler Reddick. Caitlin.
Well, the 51 truck of Daniel Suarez there in the middle of your screen told his team, I am tight under load and off the turns. They're going to do an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires, fuel, 1 round up on the track bar. And from Matt Crafton in the 88 truck there at the bottom, he said, I'm a little snug in the corner, free on entry. Also going to do 4 tires and fuel for the 88.
The 88 of Matt Crafton was running second in this race last year, right at this stage in the race, lap 138. We're at lap 134 tonight, and he took a speeding penalty, and it cost him. But they were conscious of that as they came down pit road this time.
Yeah, so critical to win this battle off pit road, and Crafton's going to do it.
Wow.
And just remember, guys, Crafton was really aggressive last time down pit road. He was actually pushing William Byron, so he's confident that he knows what his pit road speed's supposed to be, but he must be right on the edge.
Good work by the over-the-wall gang. Crafton out first, holds on to the lead at Dover. As much fun as we're having tonight here at Dover, we're going to do it again next week. Next Friday, Camping World Truck Series in Charlotte with the North Carolina Education Lottery 200. Begins at 8 o'clock Eastern on FS1. You can always stream it at Fox Sports Go.
Yeah, the home game for most of these teams.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, some of us live near Charlotte.
Always love going to Charlotte, and the racing is going to be fun. We're going to look forward to that, and that will be race number 6 out of 23. Everybody trying to secure a spot in the chase. Remember, 8 trucks will make the chase, the final 7 laps, in a battle for the championship. The first year of the chase here in the Camping World Truck Series.
How cool would it be to be a truck racer? Look at Brandon Jones laid in there. He's got that autism awareness onboard camera. He had a great start to this race. Just simply got into a crash, not of his own making. Couldn't avoid spinning down that really tough back straightaway. And now he's running the 22nd spot. But just having the opportunity to race one of these trucks in NASCAR, that's just so wonderful for these young kids.
And started up on the front row. Really would have an outstanding run. Was running up, what, in the top 3 or 4 positions the entire race.
And when you say kids, Michael, I mean, he's 19. I mean, just one of many teenagers.
Literally kids.
Yes. The 51 of Daniel Suarez is 4th. Caitlin?
Well, Vince, Daniel told his team right after that caution he was having a lot of difficulty hearing the team. They were still able to make adjustments to try and fix his truck, but here's what he said.
What's the problem with the radio? You could not hear us under green, is that right? Learning suffering. Actually, right now, it's difficult to me to try to understand everyone. And under green, it's impossible.
So now the team is reporting that they are going to be switching radio channels to try and help that so there will be more clear communication between Daniel and his crew chief.
I tell you, it's hard to communicate here at Dover. I mean, you're so busy. We talked about you hold your breath and you squeeze the wheel. You add in some guy trying to explain to you what you're trying to talk about, what your truck's doing. It becomes very, very difficult.
Well, you better squeeze that wheel now because we're getting ready to get intense one more time. Matt Crafton on the outside is the leader. Tyler Reddick inside.
What a great start by Matt Crafton. He's going to be able to pull down in front of Reddick. Suarez now side by side with Reddick. How about Custer? Wide on the outside.
Wow. Suarez cuts him off from going 3 wide, and Daniel Suarez trying to move on Reddick. You're looking at it from Cole Custer's viewpoint.
Boy, now's the time to do it. It sure is easier to pass him on the restarts than it is once you get strung out.
You just remember how crazy it got at Kansas last week, late in the going. These guys know they've got to go if they're going to win. Look at Reddick dive in there, even higher for Custer.
Reddick is not giving up. He is digging, trying to hang on, but it's just going to be a little bit too much on the outside from Daniel Suarez. He's got second.
Here comes Custer. He's dead even right now with Reddick for 3rd.
This is the hardest thing you do. The air off those other trucks are making you want to spin out, get sideways. Taking it 3 wide like Cole Custer's doing, that's desperation. He's throwing up 3-pointers late in the game, hoping something connects.
Most of them have went in so far.
Custer running that high line as you see the 21 of Johnny Sauter getting underneath William Byron. Byron holds on to it. Byron's led the most laps tonight, led 80.
Falling all the way back to 6th, though, Vince. So Byron has not closed this deal, but he's still got a ways to go.
This looks like a yellow waiting to happen.
Yeah, how about that 49 truck? That's Nick Drake. We really haven't talked a whole lot about him. That's the second truck out of Haas Automation team right now, Junior Motorsports. Really doing a nice job. Ran the K&N series for a couple years. Won a race at Phoenix in the K&N West. Doing a super job. Dave McCarty calling the shots for that team. Longtime crew chief veteran in this series.
Look at Rico, though. He's gone up to the cushion. He's a dirt racer. He knows he's got to look for some grip. He's got to make something happen. That was an awesome move that he made with that truck that he wrinkled up earlier in the show. Great job by Rico Abreu.
Well, they really sorted that out because they were all bunched together there, and it looked like a potential for trouble. But Rico has taken the lead out of that group.
There's our battle for fourth. That's Christopher Bell. He's trying to do something with Tyler Reddick. Reddick led, has a fast truck, but it looks like right now, Phil, the Ford truck is better. He's able to close on exit, see if he can get the job done.
Really tough to make these passes when everyone really is running right down on the bottom of the racetrack. We saw
don't burn them up.
We saw Reddick able to hold the lead for 40 laps on 2 tires. Let's see what they were talking about with Christopher Bell.
He just told him don't burn those tires up. We need you to save some tires for the end of this race. That's what that communication was about. You see William Byron looking in. How do you save tires, though, Phil? You got to go. This race doesn't have much time to go. Look at the strong move that Bell makes there, trying to get that spot away. Loses momentum off, and here comes his teammate.
Wow, taking advantage. Radio communication from the 4 of Christopher Bell.
First to the end. I know we need to get that 29 into that P4 spot. Just get them back cooled off here.
And the reason why they want that P4 start, Phil, is the restart. They want to be up on that outside. They know that'll be the best chance for them to jump around. That's what a spotter's job is. Give you all the information you need. If you can possibly go get that 4th position, we need it in case there's another restart.
Because we saw Cole Custer use that outside line to gain some spots on that restart, all the way up to 3rd now.
That blue truck belongs to Spencer Gallagher. Rico Abreu just ahead, and right behind them is the 49 of Nick Drake making his Truck Series debut.
You know, I talked about desperation.
3 trucks up.
And these guys throwing up 3-pointers. When you give Matt Crafton the lead, it's like Steph Curry has the ball for the Golden State Warriors late in the game.
In overtime.
Nothing's going to go wrong out of that 88 truck. He's going to be solid, but there's a kid behind him there, Daniel Suarez, that wants it as bad as anybody out there, and he's going to try to put all the pressure on Crafton he can.
And Crafton is just expanding that lead now. Just a moment ago was under a second, and now it's a little bit more than a second. So just continues to build on it. 1.2 seconds for Crafton now over Suarez.
But it's so tight, Vince. Last time by, Crafton ran a 23.7, and Daniel Suarez ran a 23.75. I mean, a couple 300ths of a second is the difference in these trucks late in the going. And look, Suarez is making some ground there. He's got it nearly back under a second.
Crafton doesn't make many mistakes, but if he happens to make one here, he'll have Daniel Suarez all over him.
And it's amazing. Right now, we have 51 laps to go, and these laps click by so fast on this high-speed 1-mile track.
Yeah, and if you're Matt Crafton, you just want to see 50 laps of green flag racing. You don't want to take a chance on lining this thing up for a restart, maybe not getting the starts you needed. He hopes it stays green.
50 to go at the Monster Mile. Matt Crafton has never won here before. Can he do it for the first time tonight? Man, what a fun night, and it is some terrific racing here at the Monster Mile in Dover.
Look at
and
that.
We don't expect it to change with approaching 40 to go. Matt Crafton is your leader, but look at Daniel Suarez and that 51 closing the gap now under a half second behind Matt Crafton.
And you can lose a half a second here in traffic pretty easy. Matt Crafton, though, with all that experience, if there's anybody that knows how to get through traffic, it's Matt Crafton.
He is working the bottom of that track, but that lead is now down to a 1/3 of a second. He had it up over a 1.25 seconds earlier. And wow, what momentum Suarez has. He's there.
Suarez runs full time in the Xfinity Series. He's been so close before, but he's never won in either the Camping World Truck Series or the Xfinity Series.
3 second-place finishes here in the trucks for Suarez.
What it would mean to him to get to victory lane tonight and to beat a guy like Matt Crafton, a 2-time series champ, to get that first win. How special.
Well, I mean, like I said, Matt Crafton is Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors. He's in control. He knows how to dictate a race. He might just be taking it easy on those tires. We know if they go all the way to the distance, all the way to the end without a caution, these tires are going to be worn really badly. So maybe Matt just said, I'm going to back up to Daniel and take care of my stuff. If you're as good as Crafton is, that's a great strategy. I was always the driver that said, if I can just get away from here, I'm going somewhere. I don't want to wait around.
And remember, Matt Crafton, we know he's going to win, but he has not won yet this year. He has not solidified his spot in the chase.
And that's just a formality. That's coming. He's going to win. He's going to be in the chase. But, man, he wants to get it done right now and start building on that. Build on his wins.
He wants one of those monster trophies.
On board with Brandon Jones, well off the pace, at least in regards to laps down. He's 3 laps down after having some incident contact, earlier spun and made wall contact.
And I got to tell you, Vince, that's one of the most frustrating feelings in the world as a driver, running up in the top 5, having a truck you think you can win with, and now you're just salvaging on, making laps and putting in time.
Yeah, it's really tough, too, because this place, you see him doing a nice job of getting out of the way. You know, these trucks are running such a high rate of speed there. When you're a little bit off the pace, there's nowhere to hide.
By the way, the caution clock is officially off because of the fact that the caution clock cannot be utilized within the last 20 laps of the race, and the caution clock was going to go beyond that mark before running out. So the caution clock is off.
Remember a few weeks ago at Atlanta, these guys were racing up front there. Christopher Bell, Daniel Suarez got together. It turned them into Matt Crafton, who had a great truck. Hard contact into the outside wall.
Crafton had won Atlanta a year before, and he could see victory on his windshield right there, and it was taken away off turn 2.
Boy, Suarez wasn't very happy that day. His teammate Christopher Bell got into him. Crafton wasn't too pleased either. Didn't work out for Bell in the long run. John Hunter Nemechek ended up in victory lane that day.
Christopher Bell had the lead, ended up cutting the right front tire down into his day.
The late stages of this race here at Dover. Crafton leads, but Daniel Suarez is stalking him.
Remember, just a few moments ago, we said there was 50 laps to go. We're already down to 35. Make it 34 laps to go now.
And it looks like Crafton has been able to stabilize versus Suarez. Daniel got there, but now Crafton has stretched it out a few truck lengths.
Tyler Reddick has led 39 laps tonight, but currently he's in 5th, Hermie.
And falling back a little bit, Vince, on the tail end of this run, the truck has gone to the tight side. They told him to turn the right rear tire fan blower off, hopefully making that tire grow just a little bit to help that truck rotate through the center. But right now he is battling with William Byron, trying to hold on to a spot in the top 5.
A couple of pretty good trucks tonight, Reddick and Byron. Byron's led the most laps, 80, and that's the battle for 6th. Those two going at it, as Hermie noted.
Yeah, Williams moving around. He's diamonding the racetrack.
Out, debris.
Caution.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Now what do we do?
I think we're out of tires.
We are.
These guys have pitted 3 times. They had 3 sets of tires in the pits. They could put tires on that had already been on, but I think you keep the track position.
We saw how important track position was when Tyler Reddick got 2 tires. He was able to get out front. He was able to maintain that lead. Controversial. Instead, on the other hand, was his teammate Daniel Hemrick. He had on 2 tires. He couldn't get the track position. Fell straight back. So these crew chiefs are faced with some serious decisions. Do we put on some used tires, or do we keep that track position?
I think I like the track position myself.
How about Cole Custer back up into the number 3 spot? Remember, he was leading the race, but was black flagged for jumping the restart. And that was back on lap 61, restarted 21st, and he's made his way back up through the field and currently is positioned in the number 3 spot. Not a bad night for Ryan Truex either. Really been impressed with what this young man has done this season.
Well, remember Kansas, he had an engine change before the race started in the back. There was all kinds of carnage, mayhem throughout the course of that race. We looked up at the checker flag. He was in the top 10.
Yeah, finished 6th.
Came home 6th. That's the way you get yourself acclimated to the trucks. He's there. He could be a contender before this thing's over.
Daniel Hemrick coming off a career best 3rd place finish at Kansas, and He's in position for another strong finish tonight.
Yeah, if you're back here, now we've got 17 trucks on the lead lap. If you're back here in 10th, maybe you think about coming in. You maybe have some tires with a few less laps on them, or you can make an adjustment, some cold tires, and maybe try to make something happen.
I just love this. I love the pressure that you put on the crew chiefs. These drivers have done their part. They put themselves in a position to win. Now, how do we make sure we make the right call on pit road?
There's Junior Joyner. He's the guy that has to make his decision first because he's up front.
Doug Randolph, the crew chief for Tyler Reddick.
Matt Crafton's not even faking. No, I'm staying put. But look behind him. Here comes William Byron. Is that Byron?
Yep, and Hemrick. So Byron and Hemrick, the first two to peel off.
William Byron right now, remember, guys, he already has a win. Why not gamble? Rudy Fugle said, let's try something here. See, maybe we can make it better and get up front.
Yeah, they peel off from 6th and 10th. How about that 19, Hermie?
Yeah, these guys have really been struggling trying to find the right balance of this truck. No new tires in this pit area, so they're putting some tires back on this truck that they ran earlier. They did have some left sides left because they took 2 tires on 1 stop, so hoping to make a charge at the end on the 19. Caitlin?
Well, William Byron in that 9 truck, one of the few that elected to come down pit road. William saying he's still just a little free. They're going to do a 4-tire change for William Byron.
Well, you heard Caitlin talking earlier about William Byron not liking the balance of his truck, so they're taking advantage of it with this pit stop. Come back for the finish. Dover, Delaware, the Monster Mile, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. It's a 200-lapper, and we've got 28 to go. It'll be 27 at the restart. They pitted from 6th. Well, William Byron did, and that 9 truck pitted from 6th, came in, and then got penalized for having a crew member over the wall too soon, as did Tyler Young.
Yeah, tough break. That team was going to struggle to get back to 6th, I think, with that strategy field, but they were going to give it a run. Now it's impossible.
All right, guys, coming 27 to go. You've got Matt Crafton and Daniel Suarez up front. We've already seen 1 driver penalized for jumping a restart, so we got to keep a real close eye on that 51 to make sure he doesn't jump the start. Make sure Crafton gets off on a good start and carries that lead into turn 1. There's the restart zone. Let's find out what happens. Coming to 27 to go at Dover.
Another great restart by Matt Crafton. Look at Cole Custer all the way down to the bottom, blocking the 29 of Reddick.
Good job by Suarez. He was able to clear the 4 of Christopher Bell. That means he can continue his pursuit of Matt Crafton, and that's exactly where he's at.
And Christopher Bell's up a spot. Remember, he restarted 4th, got ahead of Cole Custer, who's now side by side with that 21 of Johnny Sauter.
That's the battle for 4th. Sauter on the outside, Custer inside.
We heard his crew chief say, his spotters say, we need that 4th spot. It'll help us later. He got it, and now he's going to race for the win.
Suarez pressuring Matt Crafton. Crafton in that yellow 88, the 2-time series champion. Daniel Suarez trying to win for the first time in the NASCAR Major Series. Full-time driver in the Xfinity Series. He's been so close before. 3-time runner-up, but he's not won here in the Camping World Truck Series or in the Xfinity Series.
Guys, Matt Crafton that time
center. He brought it to the bottom. You left him 3.5 back.
ran within a 10th.5 of his fastest lap this entire race.
Didn't we say these tires were worn? What a job by Crafton.
Yeah, they got 40 laps on him right now.
Crafton radio.
Yeah. Remember the video we just saw a few moments ago from Atlanta. It was these 3 trucks running 1, 2, 3 that were involved in that at Atlanta. Johnny Sauter holds down that 4th spot. Cole Custer now settles in 5th. How about Spencer Gallagher up to the 6th spot in that 23 Allegiant truck?
And let's just go on down the line. Tyler Reddick, Ryan Truex, Kaz Gralla. Kaz is in the top 10, the 17-year-old kid from Connecticut. And then Daniel Hemrick rounds out the top 10.
Spencer Gallagher just not giving up. That's him in 6th, just out the window of Ryan Truex.
Got to appreciate the job Gallagher's done. These guys that have marched from the back, they've been able to get up toward the front. But, man, it gets tough once you get in this position.
Actually, that's Reddick right there in front of Truex, and just in front of Reddick is Gallagher.
And I like Hemrick. Remember, he came to pit road, put 4 tires on, although they were used. Probably left sides were probably new, and he's back to where he came in at 10th.
There's Hemrick. Dives down into the 3rd corner. You know, Phil, this racetrack is so tempting to drive in there even deeper and miss that bottom lane. If you're going to run the bottom, you might have to just roll out of the gas a little sooner and try to get it hooked right there on that black pavement right next to the concrete. That might be the fast line.
Another shot of Ryan Truex chasing down Tyler Reddick in the 29 truck.
Matt Crafton crosses the line. The Camping World 20 to go at the Monster Mile at Dover.
I guarantee you, right next to that pavement on the bottom of the concrete is exactly where you're going to find Matt Crafton for the next 20 laps. He's going to drive that number 88 Toyota right on the low part of the track. Look, right next to the apron.
He has as big a lead as he's had now in the last 25 laps.
That's got to be a great feeling. And Matt, the two-time champion, really good anywhere we go. He and his crew chief, Junior Joyner, just have the communication. They have the chemistry to get the job done. But don't count out Suarez. He could be saving a little bit as we race down to 18 to go.
Matt Crafton, last one at Homestead in the season finale last season. An 11-time winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Suarez, as we've mentioned, just still seeking that first win.
Ooh, 3 wide. Daniel Suarez trying to move by Kaz. Remember, Daniel Suarez has some fresher tires. They were lapping, looked like the 41 maybe of Ben Rhodes they were lapping by.
That was Hemrick. And then you see Suarez still stalking Matt Crafton, but the lead is almost 0.7 of a second. Let's listen to the radio of Daniel Suarez.
Hey, if you can't pass him right now, don't abuse your stuff. Let's get into some traffic and see if we can't outrace him through traffic.
That sounded like the owner, Kyle Busch, possibly giving some direction to Daniel. And by the way, the last time by, he put 2/10 on Matt Crafton. He was faster than Crafton. You can see what that means on the racetrack. Visibly closing on Crafton.
Yeah, these laps can't run out fast enough for Matt Crafton. He just can't shake that Aris number 51 of Suarez.
These two drivers have finished first and second before. Suarez finished second to Crafton at Texas last June.
Think about the veteran Johnny Sauter last week in Kansas, leading
when he
on.
slips up, you can't slip up with him. You got to take advantage of the air he's giving you.
That's the Suarez team communicating to Daniel. But just think about the finish of the race last week, Phil. Veteran Johnny Sauter, he's got the race in control. A rookie looking for his first win, drives over top of him. They both crash. Daniel Suarez has been so close to winning, but he's never done it. He now has the leader, Matt Crafton, within his sights. How desperate will he be as the laps wind down?
Kyle Busch, the team owner of that 51 truck there on the right-hand side of your screen. Kyle knows his way to victory lane. He's done it so many times in this truck series, the Xfinity series, the Sprint Cup series. But you always see him, he always looks nervous when he's watching his drivers perform.
Well, I don't have anything to do with this. I'm nervous, too. I don't know what lies ahead. I know how good Crafton is, but I know how bad Suarez wants it. If he could just get that left front tire a little bit lower in the turns, maybe try just a slight different line, even lower yet, it could be the difference of catching Matt or not. He's able to gain on him, and then he loses it a few laps later.
So far, the lap trucks have really done a nice job of getting out of the way of our leaders here with just 12 to go.
Matt Crafton was a groomsman in Kyle Busch's wedding, but Daniel Suarez drives for him. Maybe that's why Kyle looks nervous. He's confused. He's got a buddy leading and his truck second.
I don't think he's confused at all.
Not at all, right?
And I think Crafton's already given the wedding gift. He's not giving something back today. But for Kyle Busch, you know, he saw his young driver William Byron win last week at Kansas. His first career win. Now hoping that Suarez can pull it off for his first career win. But it is going to be tough. Coming to 10 to go, and he's chasing the two-time series champion, Matt Crafton.
Clear. 10 more times. 10.
That's a bit of a tough break for Crafton there. He lost his momentum off the exit when he lapped the truck of Travis Kvapil. Slowed him down a bit, and that allowed Daniel Suarez to close up 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, these guys go around here so fast. Any break in momentum, whether it be a lap truck or getting a little bit out of shape, really is really noticeable.
Go get him.
He's there.
0.3 of a second separates first and second. Oh, Suarez slipped up.
Overdrove that corner. We got to keep that left front down on the bottom. That's how we caught Crafton. And now, that's how we lost our momentum.
Yeah, don't look for Matt Crafton to make any mistakes. He doesn't make very many of them. Got a couple lap trucks ahead here. And at some point, we may be getting into the trucks that might be in the lead lap that want to stay on the lead lap. Take a look at the 51 just a few moments ago.
Look at him driving that baby sideways, slipping and sliding 150 miles an hour down in the corner. But more importantly, sliding up high and losing the ground to Crafton. Trying a different line there. I like this. Go lower, go higher, do something.
Can Daniel Suarez catch Matt Crafton, hoping that the lap traffic helps him? Kyle Busch cheering him on.
I think Kyle liked what he saw also with Daniel Suarez trying the high line. You can't just stay in Crafton's tire tracks. Make a run up high one time and see if you're able to gain on him.
Coming to 6 to go. Crossing the line.
6-4.
It's amazing. You know how cool Kyle is in that car. Watch him watching his trucks right here. There he is. Suarez is up high.
Now Suarez can visibly tell if he's gaining momentum on Matt right there. If he likes what he saw out his windshield, he'll try it again. He must have liked it.
5 to go. This time by Matt Crafton leads Daniel Suarez.
They were dead even. Lap times were dead even that time for the front two.
Crafton sticking to the bottom. Suarez trying anything but trying the high line.
That worked. Look at the ground he made up.
Looks like maybe that high line is better down in 1 and 2. Ben Rhodes' crash truck is up there. He's got to move back down to the bottom.
He's going to lose a couple tenths on this lap.
4 laps to go. Crafton trying to hold on. Daniel Suarez trying for his first win ever in the Camping World Truck Series.
I guarantee you, Kyle's proud of his young driver, trying that high line, doing anything he can to try to get there. He just needs a break in traffic. Crafton catches a guy at the wrong part of the track.
10.5 each lap right here.
Suarez will be there.
Crafton bumped that lead up to just a little over a half a second that time.
Still more lap trucks for Crafton to negotiate. And maybe he may have clear track now to the end.
Through turn 4, Crafton coming in. 2 laps to go. 2 laps for Matt Crafton. Can Daniel Suarez catch Crafton? Looks like Crafton's going to have to make a mistake if Suarez is going to catch him now.
He gained on him that time. A good corner by Suarez.
And Crafton's got to be a bit defensive. He can't go in there and slide up the turn. Look how low he runs and how much momentum he gains through the middle. There's the white flag.
Back in your mirror.
It was sort of the white flag.
The final lap. Matt Crafton leads Daniel Suarez. Suarez bid for his first ever win in the Camping World Truck Series. Looks like it's going to fall short. Coming through 3 and 4, it's Matt Crafton bringing it home for his first ever win at Dover.
Baby, we finally won here. Oh my God, I never thought it happened. You guys are the best, man. We got the best team, the best sponsors, the best owners, the best of everything. You guys are awesome.
There he is, Junior Joyner, the crew chief that masterminds this effort for Matt Crafton. Love those two together. It's a great combination.
Yeah, no mistakes by Matt Crafton. He got the lead and never made a mistake the rest of the race.
And you knew he wouldn't. He's that good.
Crafton said he never thought he'd win here. Well, it took him 16 tries to do it, but he conquered the monster today.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The 5th different winner in 5 races this season. Matt Crafton adds his name to the list.
We're going chasing if you're Matt Crafton.
We've filled up half the spots already for this 8-truck chase.
Okay, we're probably going chasing if we're Matt Crafton. I think we're going to have more than 8 winners. That chase is going to be full of some winners.
Well, and if you have more than 8 winners, then it becomes points that determine which of those 8 winners gets to the chase and has an opportunity to make it for a 7-race run to the championship. Hermie Sadler with the runner-up.
Well, I can look at the face of Daniel Suarez and tell second is okay, but you were that close to getting your first career victory. Look back at those last 7, 8, 10 laps. What were you trying to accomplish, and anything you could have done differently?
Well, I don't know. Honestly, I was trying to drive the wheels off of this thing to try to complete the pass. I feel like we were a little faster than the 88. But, you know, clean air is a big difference here. So I was trying to find a different line and, you know, just to try to find a little more speed to try to complete the pass. But the 88 was pretty good. Seemed like I found something pretty good in the 1 and 2, but in the 3 and 4 wasn't working quite good. So I don't know. It's good. Definitely a good result, the best result of the year. But, you know, we work for wins, and all this team is working for wins. So hopefully we can close the deal pretty soon.
Your car owner, truck owner, Kyle Busch, on top of the pit box, cheering you on, then came by and had a couple words for you on pit road. What did he say to you when you got out of the truck?
Good job. Definitely. He was kind of happy, but you know, we always like to win. Everyone in Kyle Busch Motorsports build fast trucks to win races, and you know, it's what we're trying to do. We just came one spot short one more time.
That's Daniel Suarez, second place today. Caitlin?
Well, Matt Crafton has won on many tracks on the truck circuit, but not the Monster Mile, and that all changed here today as he earns his first win here at Dover. You sounded very relieved on the radio at the end of this race. You told me before the race you really wanted to win here. What's this one mean to you?
It's awesome. I always wanted miles, and we've came close. We've came second. We've gotten close, and we've had very fast trucks. This Menards Toyota Tundra was very, very good today. It's all about these guys behind me. I just said this group never gives up because we were not very good in the last practice. I think we were 21st, and like I said, we went wholesale last night. Me and Junior sat down and talked for a while, and we talked again. And I just showed up later and let him do his work, and we just kept, like I said, working on it all day. Just a little bit of air pressure here, a little bit of air pressure there, and finally this thing was right on. I mean, we had great horsepower all day. This triad, and thank you, Mark Green, for everything.
Thank you. Matt Crafton gets his first win of the 2016 season here at Dover. Hermie?
Well, back on pit road, Christopher Bell finished third. How about this racetrack, and tell us about your performance today, and what'd you learn out there?
Well, the Monster Mile was good to me today. We started off not the greatest, but ended up pretty good. And I just can't thank everyone here on this number 4 team, everyone at Toyota, TRD, all the guys at JBL and KBM, man, they did an awesome job. They stuck with me throughout the day, and we were able to hang in there and bring a good day out of it.
That's Christopher Bell, third place here at Dover.
Well, Matt Crafton adds his name to our Chase Standings winners list. We've had 5 races, 5 winners. One of those winners, Kyle Busch, not eligible for the Camping World Truck Series Championship, so he's not included here. But remember, only 8 drivers make the chase. This is race 5.
We're filling up the yellow.
Yes.
We've got 4 in yellow already. Look at the guys that we have on the list that haven't won yet. Peters and Hemrick and Tyler Reddick and all those guys.
And we've seen guys like Ryan Truex step up and say, I'm going to be a contender here. A lot of stories throughout the standings that are so much fun to follow as we race throughout the summer.
Well, that'll do it from here in Kansas. Stay tuned to FS1. Dave Reef and Tony Pedregon with NHRA qualifying from Atlanta. Matt Crafton finally conquered the monster. He wins at Dover.